Good evening, everyone. Today is July 6, 2021. Most gracious and Heavenly Father, we thank you, God, for yet another opportunity of prayer. We thank you, God, for waking each and every one of us up here this morning that you're allowed to see yet another day. God, we thank you, God, for your mercy. We thank you, God, for your grace. We thank you, God, for your gift of salvation, oh God. God, right now, I ask you, God, that you will continue to uplift those and comfort those who have suffered great loss, oh God, loved ones, family, people that are close to them. I ask you, God, that you continue to comfort, keep them, and hold their head high in the news, oh God. Provide whatever it is that they're needing during this particular hour, oh God. No, God, I ask you, God, that you will. That's what I pray a special prayer for the quadriplegics, Father. Oh God, everybody that's going through paraplegics, oh God, the carers, ones that are taking care of them, oh God. I ask you, God, that you will give everyone an extra dose of patience, or extra dose of tolerance, and just more of you to be there for one another during these trying times, oh God. We ask all these things in the mighty and the matchless name of Jesus, oh God. And we thank you in advance. Amen. Good evening, everyone. Y'all come on in. Welcome to the show. It's our freestyle show, the first one of the month. Trying to get the page pulled up so I can see you guys' comments. As usual, come on in, comment. Tonight's show is all about us, you, the freestyle show of the month. Where we're going to be talking about different things, current affairs. I want to give a born day shout out to my cousin Salisha, Priscilla, my cousin, as well as Priscilla Baldwin as well. I want to say happy born day to the lovely Tiffany Miller, whose birthday is today. Happy born day, beautiful. I hope you feel better and things are getting better for you. Hope you actually got a chance to enjoy your day. To my boy Jaheed, celebrated on July 4th, as well as a happy heavenly birthday to my man Jahad. Celebrated his birthday. Ali Al, rest in peace, Al. His birthday was July 4th as well. Hope everyone enjoyed their birthdays. And those that celebrate the 4th, I hope you had a wonderful, safe weekend. I hope you got to spend some time with your family, quality time with your family. I want to say happy anniversary to my cousins Ryan and Kim. God bless you. May God bless you and keep you all. And another one of my favorite couples that we celebrate the anniversary of today, and that's Shawanda and Nathan Sledge. Yo, happy anniversary, guys. Know that I love you guys. I thank God for you all and the example that you set for other couples out there. Keep on loving on one another. Keep on growing together, man. I'm mad proud of you guys and happy for you. That being said, I'm trying to get to the page. I'm not showing why it's not showing this on my page. Let's try something else here. So I figured tonight we're gonna be talking about current affairs for the most part. You know, as usual, whatever you guys want to talk about, put your comments in the comment section, and we'll go from there. But I figured I wanted to start off, keep it light, start off with the verses. Did everybody enjoy the verses this week? Mr. Keith Sweat and Bobby Brown. Here we go. Got you guys now. Yeah, and as usual, and new, rather, those that are already tuned in, I see some of you guys are already watching. Anybody that's tuned in that does not mind sharing the show via page, please do so others can view as well and be a part of the conversation. And I figured we'll talk about the verses tonight. Shakari Richardson, as well as I'm starting early. What's good, Lot? And of course, Bill Cosby. Someone called me. I think it was maybe about 45 minutes after the news. Like, well, I can't wait for Tuesday's show because I know we're going to be talking about Mr. Cosby. I'm so excited. So I said, yeah, we'll definitely squeeze that in. I mean, I wasn't looking forward to talking to it, or it ain't on the top of my list. But again, the show ain't about me; it's about you guys, the viewers, and that's what everybody want to talk about. Let's talk about it. But the Keith Sweat, what was you guys thought on the Keith Sweat and Bobby Brown versus? I had posted that night of the show, the night of the verses. I thought that they should have made that the rule. Let's see. Oh Lord, Mr. Pudding Pop. What's good, Rochelle? Um, I thought that should have been the first verses that they had where the participants couldn't sing live. That was a straight travesty. And I always tell people all the time, like, look, Keith Sweat has undeniable, he has hits. And our generation, what we call baby making music. You know, Keith Sweat was that. He has some great songs. Having said that, he can't sing worth a lick. Would you say lie? He was acting like a kid with this. Definitely not classic. Now, what it was that Sherrock, as he said, not Sherrock, Sherrock. Like Keith Sweat was litty lit. I remember texting my god brother doing it. Is doing the show saying that Keith Sweat was going to be the R&B version of Jadakiss, and before the night was over, and I'd be daggone if he ain't proved me right, because he was saucy, he was straight lit on that Ciroc. Bobby up there sweating. Bobby probably lost about 10 pounds on there. And my thing was like, they knew what it was. So my thing with Keith Sweat was like, why was he up there throwing so much shade? Like that liquor got there, he got loose with the lips, just totally disrespectful. But Bobby kept it G. Bobby wasn't tripping on him. Laughing behind our yeah, that too. Like my brother, grandpa couldn't hold his liquor. Absolutely, absolutely. And I said what I said about Keith Sweat, but let's not get it twisted now. My crew know we all big new addition, but Bobby was never no great singer either. But he could hold a note. That's the main difference between him and Keith Sweat to me. At least he could hold a note. But Bobby kept it G. Bobby kept it G. He just had to settle down. Then he gonna go. He already sweat. He gonna go put on a leather suit. So Bobby was up there to lose weight. But overall, I thought it was good. It brought back some good memories. I know it did for me. What memories did it bring back for you guys? You know, being in high school or wherever you were at during that particular time. Because that was the insider group with me and my crew. Of course, they was saying Bobby, and I thought that if they went hit for hit, because they was going to do exactly what they did, all the stuff that Keith Sweat produced and wrote, I think I would give it to Keith Sweat, even if they added new additions, just because of how pivotal that Make It Last Forever album was. A classic, a classic, a classic. And I'm Team Bobby regardless. I'll be Team Bobby even in a losing effort. But hit for hit. And don't get me wrong, Bobby has some hits too, but not to the magnitude musically as Keith Sweat. Like I said, that Make It Last. Bobby was my guy, but I don't bonded with, let's say you use the word bonded. I definitely bonded with more females to Keith Sweat than I did Bobby Brown. Well, sure, that album was fire. Yeah, I'm telling you, Make It Last Forever was something special. Just reminded me of where I was stationed during that time. That's what's up. Was you over in Germany at that time, man? When Make It Last Forever came out? Where were you at? Yeah, that was great memories. I remember that summer in particular, summer of '88. Uh, being down at my unglorious house in Alexandria, Virginia. First time I went to a club, 13 years old. Club Sensation off of Richmond Highway there in Alexandria, Virginia. Shout out to Richmond. Shout out to my cousin Tone, who was with me when we went there that night. Shout out to Elvis as well. Had to help me get my gear ready for my first night at the club. And it was a funny night because it was so embarrassing. We won't get into all of that, but it's a night that I'll never forget. But what was so what's the overall system? We all cracking jokes, but did you guys enjoy the verses? Was it a good one? They actually snuck it on me. They actually snuck the Bow Wow and what's that boy name? Soldier Boy went on me. I ain't know nothing about that. Glad I didn't. That's we ain't even got to talk about that one because I think that's younger than our demographic and our viewers. But they were being totally disrespectful too. So it's like now we gotta wait to see what's coming on. I know I seen everybody, and I wish everybody would stop doing that. People will be, I see on Facebook, people vote, posting this one here versus this who you got, and they did that with the Mary J versus Tony Braxton, and I didn't fall for the hype because I had already seen Mary J talking about how she wasn't doing the verses. You know, what I'm saying what would verses gonna do for her? Like she had nothing to gain by doing a verses. She never even seen one. So, but it's all over Facebook. Who you got? Who you got? So verify your information before you be putting stuff out there like that. Mary was never down to do a verse, which kind of let me down because it's not about you or what verses can do for you, but during this last year, shows have been shut down. So even with D Nice, shout out to D Nice for doing Club Quarantine, which I will be going to Club Quarantine live in Atlanta September 3rd. Can't wait for that. But he did that because people couldn't get out and people needed an outlet. So he created this platform where no charge anything else. He's just going out there doing a DJ set. So what's good, Jackie? So shout out to D Nice for that doing that. So it's just about the reason that the artists will participate in the verses because it's just a way to give back to the fans. It ain't about what it can do for you personally, but it's about what you can do for the fans. So for you to have all these so-called diehard fans, you got your little documentary out now. I would think that you will be a little bit more giving as far as giving back to the fans. But, to each his own. I don't hold it against you, but I do remember things like that. Especially that particular comment on what can verses do for me. Like, we live in a society where everything is about us now, but we got to learn how to give back. Things of that nature there. And, definitely, before I go on, shout out to my condolences to the Owens family. Tariq and his brother, they got murdered this weekend at a cookout. I pray that they catch the killers. But Shonda, know that our heart and our prayers are with you. Anything that you need, just reach out to family. There's so many people that have your back. Sad, it's real sad. I know you guys were planning on getting married in less than a month, actually, and to see him murdered that way, man, it's truly sad, man. So our hearts goes out to you. And I'm just really this week in my personal prayer life, I just really been praying for lost. Period. My boy Shaka, who lost his dad last year, Toshiba, who lost her mom, Bev, and it's been a while, but people that's been suffering this great loss. I know my friend Max, her mom's in the hospital. She hasn't lost yet. A lot of people going through, man. It's some trying times for all of us. So, let's try to be there and support one another. Not just in words, but in acts and deeds. So, let's show that we really got each other and we rocking with each other and we got each other back. Because it's rough. And everybody process things different. Everybody process is totally different. So, just be a support system for one another. And those that are on the opposite end, whether you're going through health-wise, whatever the case may be, I would encourage you to pray and ask God to how to allow people to be there for you. So I know so many times people go through surgery and operations, different things, and I don't want nobody to be a burden. I don't want to be a burden to anybody, and people can't do things like I want them done and all this kind of stuff there. Like, let's put pride aside and get the help that we need because, we all need help. We all need help. It might not be done the same exact way that you want it to be done, but don't deny that help or don't deny that opportunity. One thing I strongly believe in, and I say this all the time, is what's good, Noel. One thing I say all the time is though, when it comes to love, it doesn't matter whether it's a parent-child, doesn't matter whether you're talking about relationships or work, whatever it is. Just because somebody doesn't display their love for you the way that you want to receive it does not mean that they don't love you. I think it's important for each and every one of us to take time out to take a step back and think about it from that aspect as looking at it being neutral. Just because you don't, because I want to be loved a certain way, and you don't give it to me in that particular way, doesn't mean that I don't. It doesn't mean that I don't love you. And you people that know, they know who I'm talking to. So let's get out of that. You know what I mean? I ain't throwing nobody under the bus, but let's get out of that because we all need help and we all need love. You know, that's a necessity of life. You know, so let's get back into that. Um, and with that, so yeah, we done did the verses. What's up? All right, so I want to know everybody's take on this whole Sha'Carri Richardson situation. I love you too, girl. I love you too. Um, for those that are not aware or don't know her by name, Sha'Carri Richardson is the young lady that straight smoked and demolished she's the fastest USA woman in track who was supposed to be going to the Olympics to run the 100-meter race and smoke marijuana. So she got disqualified. And I hate it because I didn't do my due diligence as far as going to get the date. But I do remember the whole Michael Phelps situation when that happened as well. But what's you guys' take on that? I see a lot of people. In my personal opinion, I feel like a lot of us are being very, very, very judgmental. My mom had passed. She smoked. She smoked weed. She smoked the weed. It is what it is. I'm not even mad. Absolutely, Noel. And you pretty much took the words out of my mouth. That's where I am with it. But I feel like a lot of us are being like very, very judgmental when I see the different things. She should have known better. Where was her camp at? Where were the people that her coaches and she needs support and all this kind of thing? Why would she throw her life away and all this thing, all these different things? All those statements to me are very, very judgmental because just because you do something does not mean it's not right for somebody else. It's not necessarily right or wrong. Steve says marijuana isn't a performance enhancing drug. I don't think it's a big deal. Okay. And okay, so that's another part of the argument. Straight nonsense. That's just their way of trying to keep a good African American athlete out of the Olympics. They knew she was too good. Rochelle. All right, thanks, Rochelle. Thanks to see you. Okay, so here's where I stand. I'm a marijuana advocate, of course. But this is my thing, okay? You got to break this down in the compartments. Like like you say, to see, but marijuana is not a performance enhancing drug by definition. If anything, it's going to settle you down, level you out. It's not going to give you. There's no benefit as far as getting stronger, faster, anything else. So it's not. That's not the issue overall. But here's where it gets tricky after me because I don't like when we bring the race card into it because it's easy to look like, yeah, blackness or she's another black girl. They wanted to shut her down. And the reason why I'm Team Sha'Carri the whole time is because since day one, she owned up to what she did. You know what I mean? She had no problem admitting that what she did was wrong. She said she knew what she was doing was wrong. And the reason that it was wrong is not because it's a performance enhancing drug, so to speak. And yes, where she was at in Oregon, it was legal. However, it does go against the track and field rules of the sport, as well as the IOC, which is the International Olympic Committee. So those rules have nothing to do with what your personal beliefs are. Like rules are set in place for a reason. You know what I mean? And I'm not mad from that aspect because when you're talking about the Olympics, we're talking about a worldwide event. So it has to be rules across the board. In many of these countries, marijuana, whether it's legal here or not, marijuana is illegal in these different places where you going straight to jail for just possession, even though they lightened up over here. So, we got to take all that into consideration because the rules for the Olympics are supposed to be an even playing field. for all the Olympians. That means whether you're from Croatia, whether you're from Iceland, whether you're from Yugoslavia, whether you're from America, wherever you're from, it should be all the same rules. Now, we could argue or we could go back and forth on does the IOC need to change the rules or modify their rules. But then again, that's the hurdle that we're going to face because again, some of these other countries they frown upon marijuana, period, medically, recreational. So they're not going to budge from in these other countries. Like it's so close to home with us. That's why I think that we feel the way that we do. Thanks for sharing, Janelle. Let's see. Michelle says, I agree, the rules are set in place for a reason, but it just seems to be more harsh toward the people of color than Caucasians. Okay. So what I would say to that is people say, well, what's the things out, the memes out there right now? If it's not crack, that'll run the track or however that goes, whatever the case may be. And then, other people want to bring race into it, say, well, Mike Phelps tested positive during his Olympian run. Okay, the difference was Michael Phelps had done already did his races. It was a different time period. You know what I mean? It was a different time period for our circumstances. And he did get suspended. It just so happened that all that took place after the Olympics. So it's not quite apples and oranges as far as, well, they let Michael Phelps swim and they not letting her run. It's a different set of circumstances. If they had a court Michael Phelps, if Michael Phelps had tested positive within the same time that she did going to the Olympics, I believe he would have been suspended as well, even being Michael Phelps. So we gotta, like I said, we gotta get all the facts and put all the facts together. But it is a disenfortunate. It is a misfortune for the young lady. My heart goes out to her. She said, and the only thing I can do is take people at they were. Like I said, I watched it on Good Morning America that next day, and she said, "Yeah, I knew what she was. She knew what she was doing." But again, once again, you got to put it in context. I'm not saying that she should get a pass and be able to run because the rules are the rules. I would like them to see them grant her mercy. You know what I mean? Because it was a very good chance that she was going to win gold. But like she said, she had just found out that everything is case by case, and she did break the rules. However, she had just found out that her biological mom had died. You know what I mean? From a total stranger. This wasn't like an aunt or her grandmother coming to tell her this. Like this is a reporter asking her about this before she's about to run one of the biggest races in her life. So we could sit here and say play Monday morning quarterback and talk about what we would do, what we wouldn't do, but none of us know what we would do in that type of situation. You know what I mean? You talking about you finding out something this within hours of the biggest race of your life. So I think it's real easy to throw stones and judge people. But she should have known. But okay, somebody else in that same situation would have went and grabbed a bottle, a fifth, or something, and drunk themselves out and passed out and missed the whole race altogether. And then we'd be having a whole different conversation. So it's real easy to judge somebody when you haven't walked in their shoes, man. My heart goes out to her because I can't imagine what that's like to find out that you lost your mom, especially in such a time as that. So I think that was real pivotal. And then not only that news, but the source of the news. Here it is, this stranger, a reporter coming to you, bringing you this information. Not somebody that you know that you love or trust that can console you. And it's like, how do you process this information that you were just given? And that's the way she chose to do so. And she says she knew the rules. So that's why I'm team Chicago, because she said she knew the rules. She said this will never happen again. Again, I said, all I can do is take people at their word. And she was like, well, look, I can't go to this Olympics, but I'm 21 years old. I got at least another 2 or 3 in me. So I like her. I like her mentality, and I like the way she's going about it. She owned up to it. She said it in her words. I'm not looking for any empathy. I'm not looking for any sympathy. You know what I mean? So big hats. I support her. You know what I mean? When you take accountability for your actions, then I'm with you, girl. I'm with you. And shout out to Nike as well. A lot of people was coming at me like, well, don't be stupid. Don't fool you. Nike just supporting her because of the money. And it's like, yeah, that may be true indeed. It doesn't change the fact that they didn't drop her, they're still endorsing her, which is very monumental to me, whether it's for the wrong reasons or not. Because there's so many other companies and sponsorships and endorsements that would have walked away from her. whether it's money, whether they were doing it for the right reason or wrong reason, they would have sat her down or dropped her as an endorsement, and Nike didn't do that. So whether it's for the wrong reasons or not, I take my hat off to Nike. And yes, do the Nike know that they were going to make money off of this by supporting her? Absolutely, absolutely. Shawanda had talked about it on my post that day. That it shows about the black dollar as well, which I think that is very pivotal too, because just like they supported Colin Kaepernick, they knew that was going to be a money maker for them because they know how we felt as black people. So does they heart in the are they hearts in the right place? I don't know. Are they doing it for more reasons? I highly doubt it. But for whatever reasons they're doing it. They're doing something that they didn't have to do. So, I take my hat off to Nike, and I'm so glad that they continue to support her and want to work with her through this. You know what I mean? And like she said, she'll be back. So we're gonna wait for her to be back, and we're gonna be rooting for her. Hopefully she'll get the one because of the month suspension. And that's another thing, they were real lenient in the suspension because normally, under normal circumstances, this positive test for marijuana, being that it's not like steroids or anything else, it would be a 3-month suspension. But the people powers that be decided that they would only give her a month. So, it was some lenience shown in that aspect. And being at the time and being that it's a month suspension, she won't be able to run into 100. But there is still some chance that she still will be able to run the 4x1 on the relay team. So we're gonna keep our fingers crossed, hope and pray, and hopefully we'll still get to see it. And hopefully it should still get the medal. She just won't get an individual one. But I'm looking forward to see how things play out. I'm real excited. I think she has a bright future because, man, listen, that girl she is blazing fast. She is blazing fast. So bar injuries, anything like that, yeah, we'll definitely see her again. So, keep her on your radar, keep in your prayers as well. Because, I talk about this stuff quite often as well. Even with the Kurt Franklin situation last year or earlier this year, whatever it was. I think it was earlier this year. No matter what it is, these people are going through everyday people things and situations. The only difference between them and us are that they're going through it publicly. So I don't think that it is. I think it's that much easier for us to judge. Yeah. So I think it's easier for us to judge when we're doing that. I'm sorry, y'all. I was reading this notification. When we're not in the public eye, we can tell somebody to kiss our behind and keep it moving. But it's different if you do it in front of a camera and you got millions of people seeing it. So now all of a sudden, everybody opinion matter in this society, like Monty was talking about last week. We live in an era of political correctness. Everything is about everybody's entitled to their opinion. They have the right to say what they want to, all these different things. And to me, I think we go overboard with it because you are entitled. I do believe that everyone is entitled to their opinion, but I don't believe that you have the right to get upset when people don't agree with your opinion, so to speak. You know what I mean? You got the right to voice it or think however you want to think. But just because somebody else doesn't go along with it, don't mean that they hating on you or that they're attacking you or they're going against you. I just don't agree with it. That sounds stupid to me, but it is what it is. It doesn't validate anything else as far as that's concerned. Um, got the finals going on tonight. I know most of you ladies don't care about that. So my fellas that's viewing, or the women that's in the basketball, who you guys got in the finals? While we get ready to talk about Mr. Cosby. Now, being that there's a lot of women viewers, I am interested to hear you guys take on how you guys feel about the whole Bill Cosby situation. Because it's one of those things, too, you like to bring race into it. We didn't see any of these things until he got ready to purchase NBC. They don't want to see a black man on a major network, especially one of the three majors. That's a theory that's out there. Is there any validity to it? Absolutely, could be. Not sure how much, but it's definitely something. All the women were lying. They were lying. They set them up. They paid the victims. I want to hear from you women. Like, what's some of you women take on this whole Bill Cosby situation? Should he have been in jail in the first place? Should he have been free? How do you ladies feel as women, so to speak? I'm very curious to hear the different outtakes. Rochelle says that's what it's all about. NBC, one of this portion is NBC was all about. No, that's what it's all about. NBC, one of his portions of what he owned and refused. So they had to drag something from his past. But my question is, what does the statute of limitation take place in this situation? That's a good question. I don't know. I don't remember the answer. I did know the answer at one time because I did look it up in those. It's in various states. California has one thing. Philadelphia has another thing. But there is statute of limitation in both of those states and where those cases were. So what the statute of limitations were or weren't, that is a good question. And how does it play a role in the outcome? As far as I know, the only thing that doesn't really have a statute of limitation is murder. So it wasn't murder, but yeah, I don't like that. I don't I don't want to make it about me. But I don't like that we live in a society when you talk about these different laws, statute of limitation, but all these different things. I don't like it that 9 times out of 10 the women get the benefit of the doubt in these situations. It's pretty much your word against hers. And a woman can literally destroy a man's life because her feelings were hurt or whatever the case may be, all off of a lie. Because you're in your feelings, you want to say that somebody raped you and they lose everything in the process. I don't think that that's fair. I don't think that that's fair at all. Just like with child support, you know what I mean? I think that's just my belief. I think these child support laws need to be changed as well. If a woman accuses a man of being a father and she's getting child support from him, and that man decides to go take a blood test and find out that that child is not his child, his biological child, she should have to get all that money back. And if he did jail time, I believe that she should have to do just as much jail time. It is not right to me. I don't think that it's fair to these individuals, and that's not just from being a man. I think right is right and wrong is wrong. I don't think that that's right. Um, I was having a conversation with somebody concerning this. Like I said, they were excited that Bill Cosby was out. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm not excited. I mean, I really couldn't care one way or the other, me personally. And my take on it is, where some of those women lie, absolutely. Where all those women lie, I don't know. It's layers to it for me because one, we're talking about Bill Cosby. Dude, you Bill Cosby. You Bill freaking Cosby. You don't have to drug anybody. There's more than enough women that will be willing to sleep with you just for the simple fact that you're Bill Cosby. So I think that was very grimy, and I don't want to condemn him for his shortcomings or his fetishes or whatever the case may be, because we all have demons. Somebody's a pedophile. They get off on little children, which I will never understand. But that is their vice. So if your vice is you want women to be lifeless while you have intercourse with them, I look at it as a sickness that you need help with. Like, I just don't understand that mentality, knowing what you have to lose. You know what I mean? And my other take on it is when you play devil advocate, like I think the number had got up to 60. So my question is always, if 59 of them were lying, right, and only one person was actually telling the truth, but that one person was your mom, how would you still be just as excited as a black person to see this man walking out of jail, knowing that he had drugged your mom? You know what I mean? Would you still be just as excited? And that's the thing that gets me because I love my blackness. I'm proud to be black. I consider myself a militant, pro-black, however you want to word it. I love it. I love everything about it. I love the shortcomings. I love the pitfalls. I love the obstacles that we have to come as black people. Because I think that it just makes us tougher and stronger in the end. But having said that, is one thing I don't do is I don't allow my blackness to override everything else. You know, who was it? What is his name? I see his big fat behind. Harvey Weinstein. Bill Cosby and Harvey Weinstein was going through the same thing at the same time. And everybody's like, well, if Harvey Weinstein got off, then Bill Cosby need to get off. You know, we try to look for these comparisons when it comes to the white and black and all that thing. And I refuse to do that. Like, I'm not going to say he should be out of jail because he's black and he's old, and he's blind. Now, having said that, I thank God for Bill Cosby because what Bill Cosby did for our community, I believe that's just as much harm as he has done to people. He has done just as much good for our community. You know, I guarantee if you go back and look at those numbers during that era of the Cosby Show and him creating a different world, there were more black people in college than in probably any other period in our lives or in the history of America, because different world made you want to go to college. It made us want to go to college. It made us want to better ourselves, man. Just the thought of a doctor and a lawyer being married. And it's funny because I was reading an article not too long ago about being college shows, I think 30 years old now. They were talking about how initially Heathcliff was supposed to be a plumber instead. And Bill was like, you know, let's go. And they was going back and forth in the creative meetings or whatever the case may be. But how different would that show have been, or the impact would have been if Heathcliff Huxtable had been a plumber instead of a doctor? You know what I mean? So I feel like he gave us something to aspire for. Bill Cosby has given countless amount of dollars as far as scholarship to Negro College Fund, to black colleges, to Temple University, to Howard University, to HBCs. What he has done has been pivotal in our community. But again, it doesn't take away from the crimes. And the reason I say that is for me from a personal standpoint. Everyone here knows now by now knows how much I love my brother Kevin. And Kevin Dan, who's often on the show, be back on again next week. Him and Monty again for critical race theory. If Kev was if Kev was supposed to, if Kev went on the news and we found out that he's a serial killer, hypothetically speaking. And I hate to throw you on the bus like this, bro, but Kev is a serial killer. Am I going to stop loving Kevin? Absolutely not. But I'm not going to support him because he's black. I support him because he's my brother and I love him. Not because he's black, though. You see what I'm saying? So I think we got to learn how to disassociate the two, because it's a big difference. Yeah, and I'm still rock with you. I'm being court with you every single day. Doesn't change the fact that you're a serial killer, but I rock with you. I'm not going to abandon you just because you're a serial killer. You know what I mean? And I don't think that we should turn about. So I think that's up for debate. You can do a whole show on that in itself about whether or not he should have been in jail in the first place, or those theories. But like I said, I think sometimes again, like some people will say, and it can be looked at me as being judgmental as well. But like a lot of people like to say, well, the people that was around her, Sha'Carri, should have been stepped up and been better. I remember when I was doing things and partaking in illegal activity, I had people in my camp telling me. I remember my guy brother from March specifically. His words to me was, "Boy, you stupid, man. Like that's like you stupid, son. That's just stupid. You about to blow stuff and blow opportunities all for what? Like, but guess what? Did that stop me from doing what I was doing? No. Like, I still made that decision. So I don't put that blame on her camp and all that. You know, a lot of people keep saying, you know, well, the camp got to assume that responsibility. We're not talking about a 7-year-old girl. We're talking about a grown woman. You know what I mean? She still may be a child, but she's a grown woman that gets to make those decisions for herself. So yeah, it could have been people in her ear telling her, "No, girl, you don't need to do this." But if that's the way that she chose to deal with her mother's passing, then that's what it is. You know what I mean? So I don't get into the whole whether or not he should have been in jail. He was in jail because he was convicted. They overturned those convictions. But I think that we got to be smarter. That's why I say I don't mean to sound judgmental, but we got to be smarter because if you hadn't been out here drugging women, and that's another thing that I think people don't understand too, is when you're talking about Bill Cosby and these pills, and it's funny because people don't understand how powerful Bill Cosby is when it comes to the media. I remember him and DL getting into it, and DL said that the people told him he made a statement, and they told him that Bill Cosby, while they were still recording, made a call. And he was like, "Yo, nobody will ever in their life in an interview. Like he has that much pull in the media," and they got buried. But all of this stuff came to light because of Hannibal Buress, a comedian named Hannibal Buress out of Chicago, right? And well, I forgot the joke itself, but Hannibal, he makes mention of Bill Cosby talking about drugging women and all these things here. And it started like, you know, like I said, we live in an era of the Inquirer, and everybody has the internet now and all this kind of stuff. So people started digging things up. That's how it all came about. But the way it started was because Bill Cosby had a joke in his set in the 60s about giving women quaaludes, about drugging women. And it was a part of his stand-up. But, dude, if you're doing something like that, then why would you make fun of it to distract? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that was smart. I don't think that was smart. So my point is, when you don't put yourself in compromising positions, you don't have to worry about certain things happening to you. So, you know, I am happy to see that he's out. You know, I don't want to see nobody old in jail, but I don't say that he should have never been in jail either. You know, yeah, some of those women were lying, but I don't believe that they all were lying. So, what some of you like again? What some of you what ladies take? I've only seen Rochelle comment. What's some of the ladies' take on this whole situation when it comes to Bill Cosby? Where you at with it, Miss Fly? We're gonna be doing some good things this month too. I'm looking forward to the show, the conversation next week on critical race theory. You know, that's been big in the news lately. So we're gonna be talking about that there. And I asked you viewers earlier, the guys that's watching, you guys, I got the Bucks. I started with the Bucks in the beginning. If you guys go back and look at the Julian and Big Fasho Wayne, when it started, we talked about it before the playoffs started. I said I was rocking with Milwaukee. I like Milwaukee, and I'm sticking with them. They are a dumb team though. They're a mighty dumb team, but I like Milwaukee. No people here in North Carolina, I'm not rocking with CP3. I'm happy for him. Shout out to Monty Williams. I'm happy for the coach, Monty Williams. But I would rather see Milwaukee win the ring than Phoenix. And my brother Eric, I will go on public record. My brother Eric been talking Phoenix for a while now. Even Lamar told him he was crazy. But here it is in the finals. 4 games away. Can they do it? That's the question. Yeah, what you got on the Bill Cosby? And then I'm in the works of getting someone on. It's been a while since we did a good testimony show, so I was talking to someone today, and hopefully that'll be on either the 3rd or the 4th Tuesday this month. Have a good, powerful testimony about salvation, someone's walk, how they got to where they are. and some of the decisions that made up leading to that. But a powerful young lady that I respect, I love spiritually. She's she's dope to me. I can't wait for her to be on to share her story. Um, and what else? I have another elder who I've been in contact with that should be on either this month or next month. One of our Caucasian brothers. But I would love to hear his views on a lot of stuff that's been going on in the body of Christ, outside the body of Christ. Can't wait to have him on his take, things of that nature. Uh, Shout out to Toshiba too. Everybody keep Toshiba's dad in prayer. I love you guys so much because I really do feel like we're building like a community amongst one another. I love to see when you guys go on back and forth in the comments with one another as well. You know what I mean? Getting to know one another. So I really do feel like we're growing a community, which I thank God for it. I love it. I love you guys for it. For reaching out and communicating with one another and getting some new friends along the way. I think that's a beautiful thing. Um, and Rochelle, we still got to get together to find out when we're going to do the show on autism, special needs. Like I said, I'm probably have my cousin Key on that one as well with us. She is a special education teacher. So hopefully she'll be able to give us some tips on people that are going through that have children that's dealing with autism or just have special needs kids, children in general, some help aids, and we're going to be doing that. We also going to be having, I just have to get the date as far as our health show concerning health, cancer, cancer survivors. It's been almost a year. Matter of fact, I think it was in my memories this week from when we did the cancer show with Tamara. Shout out Tamara too, Tamara Perry last year, telling her story and sharing with us some good information about her being a survivor and things of that nature. So it's time that we revisit that one. So I'll probably have some women over. I know my brother Kev talked about. He's going to come share his story with us. Because I do believe that we talked about it on the anniversary show with him and Lamar as well. But us black men, we got to do a better job of taking care of ourselves as far as health wise and going to get those checkups, making sure that everything is intact so that we can be here, be able to be here, not just be here, but to be able-bodied to be there for our family and friends. Where y'all at with these comments, ladies and gentlemen? To home, just mean the women, but whatever you guys have. We're gonna wrap up soon. So people get on with their evening. Mm-hmm. Oh man, I'm sorry, y'all. Mine froze up. Bev says, unfortunately, these women were faced with the possibility of not being believed or losing everything they had to gain to repair in their careers. Again, we want the system to work, and we want the punishment to fit the crime. Exactly. I like that. I like that. Yeah. Thanks, Bev. Um, and again, I'm not a woman. Absolutely. I know you don't, bro. That's why you're gonna be on here. That's why I'm gonna have you on, John. And thanks for tuning in, John. I got a chance to check out that message, man. Hey, way to let the Lord use you, man. Proud of you, bro. Um, Keep on keeping on, keep on getting that word out there. But that's why I'm gonna have you on. I know you're not a racist whatsoever, but I do like to have a different point of view or different, outtake, different backgrounds on the show from time to time. And again, I'm not a woman. Not that men can't be raped as well, but I'm kind of curious about that. Women, I hear that a lot. A lot of women don't speak up when it comes to things of that nature because they're worried about the stigma, how it's gonna look, whether people gonna believe them or not, things of that nature. There. So, as a woman, do you guys feel like there should be a statute of limitation on how long it takes? Like, I mean, it's easy to say like if you were wrong or they violated you, to go tell somebody. But how many times we see somebody breaking somebody's car, but we ain't running to the police or whatever the case may be. So I think that's like a crazy, crazy topic. But I want to hear some women take because I totally get it. Like nobody wants to be the face of rape or molestation or nothing like that. But how do you deal with that? And how do you when you don't speak up? How does that make you feel when you see it happens again to someone else, knowing that you might have could have prevented somebody else from experiencing the same pain and trauma that you're experiencing? Um, John says, don't have a racist bone on my body. I'm married to a beautiful black woman. Yeah, shout out to Barbara. I have newly adopted black grandson. Yo, congratulations, man. Toshiba says, no, there should not be a statute of limitations on sexual assault. Okay. There absolutely should not be a statute of limitation on sexual trauma. So so most women going like there shouldn't be a statute of limitation on it. Okay. I don't have any argument. I'm not here to debate or I'm not right or wrong. I'm just curious on women's take on that. There should not be a statute of limitation because it takes a lot to come out and tell someone. Okay. Yeah, and I agree with that. But it baffles me that so many times, not you all, but it be mainly women too. Like, well, what took us so long to say something? You know what I mean? Everybody is saying that shouldn't be a statute of limitation on how hard it is, but I see a lot of people condemning them for not saying anything when it first happened, which I find totally ironic and it seems be kind of hypocritical to me. It may take time for a survivor to find his or her voice. Absolutely, absolutely. I agree. I agree. There shouldn't be a statute of limitation, but it doesn't make that person look credible when they wait almost 20, 30 years later to report the sexual abuse. I agree with that as well, Rochelle. You know what I mean? And not to say that it doesn't carry validity, but again, somebody's going to ask, well, why didn't you say anything immediately versus do you know how many other people became victims all because you suffered in silence? You know what I mean? You speaking up could have helped other people avoid it. As a young boy in the 60s, I had the best of Cosby 33 album. I love him. John. Yeah, we all love Mr. Bill. And I'm praying for Camille in the whole process. You know what I mean? She stood strong and she stayed out of the news while this was going on. But, I would imagine this has to be very difficult for her as well to be the wife and while all this is going on. I have to keep your head up. There are so many reasons a person may not come forth. I agree. I agree. That's why I say it's not a situation that I'm envious of. It's not a situation that I would want to be in because, like you say, Bev, it doesn't. What it might be easier for someone that's attacked by a stranger versus someone that's attacked by a family member, father, brother, uncle, or you know what I mean, whatever the case may be. So people definitely have different reasons of why they don't come forward, and I totally get that. I totally get that. I'm not going to penalize you because you, bro. What are your thoughts on what they're doing with Felicia Rashad trying to make her step down from being dean? I think it's absolutely absurd. That's what I think. Just like we talked about last week with Mark Lamont Hill. I do not like we live in a society and such a climate to where, this is still supposed to be America. We're supposed to have the freedom of speech. Just because my personal opinions doesn't line up with my employer, so to speak, doesn't mean that they should be able to punish me for that. You know what I mean? All I have to do is put a disclaimer out there that these are my opinions. I do not speak on the behalf of my employer, whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? I think Howard, especially being Howard University at HBC, I think they're totally wrong for that. And not because he's black, but is a form of censorship, and I don't like it. I don't like that at all. Shout out to Felicia Rashad because she rocked with him, she stood up with him. However, if he is guilty, he should have received the punishment. Absolutely, that's what I say. And Ben mentioned that earlier. Along with the crime fisted punishment, I respect that one. I respect that one. One might go through some sort of pain, but I don't think you should wait for years and years. I think the sooner you talk to it, the better it can be. Absolutely. Because like I said, my thing is not just you, but there's so many by you telling your truth, by you bringing your truth to life. I believe that you can help so many others avoid it because that person is taken off the streets or is dealt with. If it's a family member, there's gonna be some broken bones or some furniture, whatever the case may be, but it'll get dealt with. But I believe that you are saving lives. I do believe that. Like she said, it was ridiculous. I believe that's in terms of the Felicia Rashad treatment. That is her opinion, and she should be able to stand by what she believes. Absolutely. That's all I'm saying. Like, I don't believe that you should be able to get in trouble or literally lose your job because your voice opinion. You didn't tell this to your students. You ain't writing it across the blackboard. You're doing this on your own personal private time. So I don't believe that. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that. You go out there and get a DUI. I don't believe that your job should be able to fire you for getting DUI on your time. You want company time? Absolutely. They got the right to do whatever they want to. But I don't believe that they should be able to do that if you're not doing it. It's the same thing to me. All she did was voice her opinion and, made a statement on behalf of one of her friends. You can also stop the person from doing it to another. Exactly. That's my whole point, Drew. So, I understand that it might be embarrassing. I might understand, but you don't understand that it's helping people. You know what I mean? It's been many times where people will reach out to me personally, talking about how, from time to time when I talk about my divorce or different things that I've been through or suicide, how much it has really helped them because I would have never thought, not that's you, Mark. Yeah, me. But if it's not about me being embarrassed, it's not something that I'm proud of either. But I'm not to the point that where I'm gonna allow those situations or situations in my life period to dictate me being free and transparent with people that if it can help them, avoid some of the pitfalls that I have overcome or help them get through some of the things that they're going through that they don't think that there's an answer to. If me sharing some of my story with that, then to God be all the glory. That's exactly what I'm going to do, whether I'm comfortable with it or not. Everything that I talk about on here, or I talk about to people, I don't necessarily want to. Not because I want to or I think it's cool. It's just that sometimes I try to live my life most of the time that it's not about me. It's about the big picture and it's about what God says. And if I'm being a true vessel of help, to different people and various people in certain things. So absolutely, I have no problem with sharing things that are uncomfortable to talk about sometimes. But it's very important that we do because, like you said, Drew, I believe that a lot of times you could help avoid somebody else, and I would like to think that if it's that traumatic for you, knowing that the possibility of you telling your truth could prevent somebody else from experiencing the same trauma, I would think that would be enough. Or I would pray that would be enough. But sometimes, unfortunately, it's not. Yes, never hold your testimony because it can help always. It can always help out someone. Absolutely, absolutely, and that's biblical. The word tells us that we are overcomers by the words of our testimony. That's why I always encourage people: look, share your testimony, share it, share it, share it, because you're sharing it. It not only helps other individuals, it's helping you. It's helping you to grow, but it's helping others as well. So I just think that that's a God thing to me. Like, I mean, just you sharing your story might free up 6, 7 people. Not to mention the people that's a part of your everyday life, and you surviving it and you overcoming. Shout out to Jude who was on last year, and I want to have her back on. Talk about being addicted to crack and getting it back together. Kev, who came on and shared his testimony. I thank God for people like that because everybody's not comfortable with sharing their testimony. But the word tells us that we are overcome by the word of our testimony. Um, so it's very powerful that we do that we share our testimony with others. Let's see. Need my glasses for this one. Let's see. I was raped when I was 14, and I was the girlfriend of a popular ball player at the time. I didn't tell anyone. I thought about everyone else more than me. I felt at the time it was my fault for trusting this close friend. I know a lot of people would have been involved in trying to kill this person, and I was embarrassed. What about all the wrong things? I've dealt with it. I sought help in my older years, but how would I look right now, 30 something years later, talking about arresting him? That's my take on it. Everyone is entitled to opinion. Looking back now, I do wish I'd spoke up, told my brother, and let him deal with it. What can I do now? Seriously. Wow. Wow. Thanks, Snow, for sharing that. Sure. I appreciate that. And I'm so sorry that that happened to you, you know. And unfortunately, when you think of terms of rape, especially in our community, 9 times out of 10 it usually comes from someone that not a stranger again, but someone that we actually love and that we trust, which is a form of PTSD in its own self, man. I'm so sorry that that happened to you. You know what I mean? Like they say, I mean, I don't know. Seriously, what can you do now? 30 something years later, I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. I don't have the answer to that. I don't know if that person is still around. I don't know if they're still doing it. I don't know if the statute of limitations at the crib is that way. But I'm glad you did share, not with me or the viewers, but I'm glad you talked to your brother. I'm glad you dealt with it and worked with it. And the fact that you're asking, what can you do about it, it lets you know that there's still something there and that you want to help. You know, I don't know how to really answer that one. I'm quite sure you know a lot of people. I would talk to some some officers possibly, some people with a law enforcement background to see what they say, or is it worth pursuing? Because that would be my biggest thing, that this person is still out there doing that, and that's not cool. That's not cool. Because what he did to you is not cool at all, man. I don't like it. And to play devil's advocate, it's like you say, like if you tell certain people certain things, even if it's bad, where we're from, they're going to die. You know what I mean? We're not going to get the law involved. We're going to handle this ourselves, and we're going to handle it accordingly. And the crime is going to fit the punishment. You know what I mean? You violated my sister, so I'm violating you. Point blank, period. You know what I mean? And it's sad that we live in a society where you got to deal with stuff like that. Coming forward with a sexual assault is more than turning. Oh man, just want to wait on me, Dad. Yeah, some people also forget the events until they feel safe enough or strong enough to remember. Absolutely. I'm a big fan of Dexter, and he's a serial killer, but I'm a big fan of the show Dexter, and that's it. Therapy, therapy, therapy. Oh, I was good, Big Five. Um, I appreciate your vulnerability. Thank you for sharing your story. Absolutely. Um, wasn't no Molly, drugs, but it's not about what happened with Bill Cosby. My thing is look at the years. He may have admitted something because he was advised to. We don't know. So at the end of the day, God will put you in a dark place to deal with your demons. All we have are opinions. Absolutely. You know what I mean? We have all the theories that we want. Don't none of us know. And if that was a way for him to deal with his God, if that's what it took for him to confront his God and his demons, then again, God be the glory. You know, sometimes some people like that. Big Fi said, Bill was wrong, Bill wrong. Yeah. I said the same thing, Fi. Um, wrong is wrong. Now, and like I said, I'm not going. I was never on that whole. How they gonna lock that old black man up? He too old to be going to jail. There's no such thing. I mean, when you caught, you caught. The old mafia dudes, they wasn't. They was getting locked up at 60, 70 years old. They wasn't going. Well, they too old to go to jail. I mean, you get convicted of a crime, you got to go to jail. But I do believe, and that's just another thing too, because we know how Hollywood is. We know how the powers that be. We know that we live in a systematic racist society. Um, absolutely fine. That's the same thing I said. That's the same thing I said. To know that you're Bill Cosby, one of the funniest comedians at the time, even back in the 60s and 70s, you got countless women waiting in the hallway for you to get off stage. You do not have to drug anyone. So he would never get a pass for me on that. He would never get a pass for me on that because it's just wrong. It's just wrong. It's just wrong. Um, yeah, but like you said, Noel, all we can do is speculate. Everything that we have is speculation. We don't have no facts. None of us ever had a drink with him. None of us ever shook his hand. He ain't drugged none of us. So all we have is theories and speculation. So again, I'm with you on that. Um, again, over a while, like I'm still kind of at a loss of words, Noel, with you sharing what you shared. Uh, know that I'm glad that you're okay, but I'm praying for you because, and again, thank you for exactly, Marvin. Will tell you, I have I have served. I have severe OCD from this, and I stated myself. I do see a psychiatrist and have anxiety meds. I made a choice, and yep, I'm dealing. But my faith in God gives me comfort that He got it. Absolutely. Not only does He has it, He has you. He played out for a reason. True. Because that's just like us in the hood. If you facing 25 years for a crime that you did not commit, and they tell you, well, if you plead guilty to this, we're only gonna give you 3 years. There are a lot of people that will lie and take those 3 years because they scared of the possibility of looking at 25. I don't understand that because if I didn't do it, I ain't do it. And I'm riding the wheels till it fall off. Gladly take that 25 years, but I will never admit to doing something that I didn't do. I'm not doing that under no circumstances. But again, we're gonna wrap up soon. Thank you guys for the comments and everything. Thank you guys for chiming in as usual. But Noel, not only am I praying for you, now we have the community, the Marvin Bennett Jr. Show is praying for you as well. And not just you, but every woman that's going through something similar. Because I believe you sharing this right here on this platform, I believe that is going to help other women share their story. Which is going to help other young ladies not have to go through the same exact thing. Um, Rochelle says, Noel, please stay encouraged and keep God on the forefront. I am also a victim of sexual abuse, and it took many years for me to even look myself in the mirror and like what I saw because I had blamed myself so many years, but the devil is a liar and God will bring you through. Absolutely. Thanks to God be glory. Thanks so much for sharing as well, Rochelle. I can't stress that enough, especially to believers. We are overcomers by the words of our testimony. That's so powerful. That's so powerful, and it's just freeing. It's just freeing. So I'm glad to see that people connect on a whole nother level, because now we're building support groups. Now we're building foundations. Now you got a friend. We might have different stories, but we have something that's similar that we can share. And I appreciate that. And it shows you who God is. And I'm glad to say, I'm glad you mentioned that your faith in God keeps you strong. That's very important, because you say, God got it. Not only does God has it, but He also has you. He has all of us. So I thank you for sharing your story. I thank you guys for being so candid and open with that. Big Fox said Bill had money. He bled because they had something. Yeah. And that was my point, kind of sort of. Money can't get you out of everything. People always talk about money, this and that thing, you can buy your way. Didn't get Harvey Weinstein out of this situation either. But they, like you said, they had something. I don't know what it is, but it's a black box somewhere. I was a sexual assault case manager for the military cases. There are so many stories. Absolutely. So again, and then there you go right there. And then you ladies that want to reach out to Ben, I'm sure she'll be more than happy to help you guys. Even if you just want to talk, or whatever the case may be, whether you don't want to talk, or whatever the case may be, I'm quite sure that she will have no problem being there for you young ladies. Or if you know somebody that's going through that, you feel like that, and they might not have anybody to talk to, I would encourage you to have them reach out to her, because sometimes I do believe that. I'm a firm believer in that as well. So I was telling somebody earlier this week, sometimes the best friend that you can have is a perfect stranger. People like, man, I ain't telling my business to no stranger. But think about it, like sometimes the best friend you can have is a stranger. And the reason that I say that is because when you're talking to a stranger, for the most part, they don't have any hidden biases. They're not going to be looking at you favorably or unfavorably. You know what I mean? So they're going to give you an unbiased opinion. You know what I mean? As opposed to somebody that you love that's will coddle your feelings, or whatever the case may be, will tell you just what you want to hear. I think sometimes the best friend that you could ever have is a stranger, especially when you talk about things that are bothering you, and therapy, like Bev said as well. A lot of us, we don't like to go see a therapist and sit down and talk about our problems, but I've learned myself, because I was like that for years. But going and talking to somebody, it brought out a whole different side of me, because I was that much freer after I would talk about different things that I didn't want to talk about, because for so long I was used to carrying around that weight. And after a while, it started weighing on you, and it starts to affect how you deal with people, how you react to certain things, because you're so weighed down, and you're so what's the word I'm looking for? It's just you're so full of all these different emotions. But it's something freeing and releasing to talk about those kind of things. I want my therapist out. That's what you're supposed to do. Make them earn that money, girl. Yeah, but man, I thank you guys for tuning in this week, man. I thank you guys for this blast. So do you all think Bill should have did his time for the crime? Good question. I'm curious to know some of these women answers on that, um, before we wrap up. Do you ladies think that Bill should have did time? And that's what's weird to me, because like a lot of people that I seen so happy that he's out of jail say that he should have did some time as well. So what is it that you're happy about again? Like it's not like he was wrongfully accused. I can see if he was, wrongfully accused or set up, so to speak, and they tried it. But my thing is this. Okay, if he had never done that, or if that wasn't his thing, period, then they could have never used that against him. That's the way that's my take on it. You know what I mean? He had to be, even if it was just once in his lifetime, you gave him something to work with. And eventually it caught up with you, bro. And can't no put and pop or Kodak money get you out of that one. So Chelsea, absolutely. All right, we're gonna wrap up soon. I seen earlier that fight at on somebody going with Milwaukee. Who you got, Julian? You got Phoenix or you got Milwaukee? This is deeper than all things because Bill House is sitting on the ton of oil. They've been trying to get him out to sell him. I'm not saying he's not wrong, but it's a lot we don't know too. Oh, word. Yeah, I've never heard that either, Joe. I'm with you there. I'm just convinced that it went down like they said, but again, God wanted him to do the same time, so there you go. Just like R. Kelly. What do you mean, just like R. Kelly? Are you switching up to Phoenix now? Bye. She said, Julian, no, because the case was built on illegal gathering of information. I'm tired of the legal system putting together charges against black men. I do wish there was a way to legally prosecute him for the crimes he committed. That's a tricky one too. Yeah. Well, so I'm with you. R. Kelly a whole different show. Although I believe he is exactly where he need to be. And yes, I still will listen to his music. But he is where he need to be. Both them jokers disrespect the women in ways that are criminal. Absolutely. And his thing is not and what's crazy with R. Kelly is we're not even talking about women. We're talking about girls. Like, bro, what is you doing, man? Trying to get back to that because the cases were far. What if them chicks let him pee on them? They dumb. Wasn't me. I still listen to love R. Kelly. But this slow ass, they know R. Kelly a little special. Seriously, he's a musical genius, but his can't watch him do dumb shit and he was doing. Exactly. So people talk about Shakar Richardson. What about all those? What about all those managers? What about all the people that was getting rooms for R. Kelly? And everybody looked at Jaguar last year how crazy she was when she talked about how when he came to do his album in Philadelphia that Questlove, she named names Questlove, Black Thought, all of them knew what R. Kelly was doing because he knew which elementary school to go to find you little girls in Philadelphia. He's not from Philadelphia, so how would he know what schools to go to find these little girls? You know what I'm saying? So therefore, somebody had to be helping him. He didn't do all this stuff by himself. So I believe that there's a lot of people that need to be cellmates right along with him that knew exactly what was going on. But because people generate millions of dollars, it did not matter. It did not matter. What you got against Golden Shower? Oh, see now y'all on to a whole nother show. To be peed on or to pee on? That is the question. I'm with you though, Noel. Hell, I ain't pissing on myself. I sure ain't letting nobody else piss on me. But if that's what you like, hey, to each his own. I ain't mad at you. See, parents were involved too. Money, exactly. And that's the same thing. Like when it comes to Aaliyah. Like Aaliyah parents knew who R. Kelly was, but they knew what he could do for her career too. And I'm sorry, fame and fortune ain't worth my daughter's integrity as far as I'm concerned. I don't have any daughters, but no, I can't do that. Well, for once in my life, I'm speechless. Yeah, let's write this day down in history because yeah, you are never speechless, my friend. You are never speechless. So that's why you keep a goulash in your car to see, huh? That's why you keep rain gear just in case in the mood. I'm just blessing with you. Yeah, this has been fun, yo. And I love these shows. I love these shows because it's like it's just so it's just it's an encouraging. It's just a cool side moment. It's just a moment to get to relax and get to hear other people's feedback. And hopefully, what I'm gonna start doing is, I know before the year is out, when we start doing these, I'm gonna have it like if you guys want to, I got you guys can come on these shows. Is like like look, Marv, I don't feel like typing all of this right now. I want to pop in. You know, I'm more than willing to do that. I know a lot of you guys are camera shy. Some of these same people, some of the top viewers, I've been trying to get you guys on, but you don't want people behind the camera. But come on, money and power. The women want money by any means. The men want power by any means. Drugs, force, manipulation is crazy. Yo, that's that, man. That's a mouthful right there, for word is born. But it's like it's sad, but it's true. You know what I mean? But at what cost? At what cost? I'm a firm believer. I like to think that I don't have a price. I don't have a price on my head. I remember when we were younger, people would you suck a dude off for $25 million? Stuff like that. And people like, man, listen, for $25 million, you know what I would do with $25 million? Not me, because my philosophy is I can't miss what I never had. Yeah, could I do a lot of things with $25 million? Yeah, but guess what? I don't know how I got that 25 million too. Like so, no. Mm-mm. Some things is more important than money to me. So I'm not selling myself short just because of the money or the power, like you say, Pop. You said really no, not me. That's because you built different, Toshiba. Again, as we wrap up, Michelle said no sir. Yeah, so it's a lot of people that still out here that have probably boo, no doubt. There's a lot of people out here that still has integrity. You know what I mean? It's not it's not as important these days, but it still means a lot to me and a lot of people. So we got to keep on doing it. Any means in 2021, don't nothing surprise me. That $40 thing is real. Yeah, if you talk about that $40, don't they? They got some meds. They'll help you forget that. Which I'm talking about the groupies. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because don't get me wrong either. A lot of the women that was coming at Harvey Weinstein for a role in a movie, they was willing to do that. He wasn't raping all the women. I'm not saying that every woman has a price or want to go out, but shoot, a lot of people was taking a shot. They were shooting a shot. This is a chance to get in the door of Hollywood. Yeah, I was sleep with his that big, fat, nasty, greasy behind, and that's not right. And that's my whole thing when we were talking about earlier. I'm not about to start a whole other show, but that's my whole thing. The whole problem when I had earlier, and not to say that it's right or wrong, but with the whole statute of limitation, because I don't think that it's fair for somebody to be able to say, you know what, like shout out said, I'm late, I'm a late, like Sinead. I don't think that a woman say, well, listen, this is my shot. So yeah, I'm gonna sleep with him. I'm gonna sleep with this nasty fat thing. This despicable. And I might give myself a quaalude because he's so ugly and disgusting. I don't want to remember myself. But then you go through the act and you don't get your shot. And nobody else gives you a shot in Hollywood. I don't think that you should be able to come back around 10, 15, 20 years later and say that you were raped. That is absolutely false. You were not raped. You just gambled and you gambled wrong. You took a chance out there on becoming a star, and it didn't work for you. And I don't think that that's right. Just like I don't think that raping is right. I don't think that you should be able to come back all these years later and get somebody persecuted all because your feelings got hurt or things ain't go the way that you want to. Point blank period. That's my take on that. So I'm with you on that fight. Like, no, I don't think they should be able to get the flip flop like that. All right, y'all. You done did enough back and forth. So again, thank y'all for the comment. Thank y'all for the show, man. I love each and every one of you. Thank you, Noel. You got so many other people that's out here now that's praying for you and praying with you. You too, you as well, Rochelle. And not just you two ladies, but I'm gonna be specifically praying tonight when I do my prayers for all young women and young men that have been violated physically in some kind of way, because it's happening to our little boys too. I slept with Bernard and moved to Texas for free, and ain't no telling what I do for 25 million. Hey, I can't get mad at. Hey, I don't get mad at nobody for telling the truth. I can't get mad at you. I ain't doing nothing for those 25 million. But yeah, because like I said, that's something that's serious though, as far as this molestation and raping and all that. It's happening to our little boys as well. And how do you process that? It's not just the Catholic Church. Some of us are dealing with some of the same things. So my heartfelt prayers are with you all. I pray that God will comfort you and give you whatever it is. I keep stressing that word "it" because a lot of times when it comes about to praying, we don't know what it is that we should be praying for. So we have to pray for is what I call, we have to learn how to pray for the "it," because I don't know whether it's peace of mind. I don't know whether it's more patience. I don't know whether it's comfort. I don't know what it is that I need. I know that you know better than I know what I need for myself, though. So whatever it is, Lord, I'm asking that you will provide it for me. So with that being said, my heart is prayers with everyone on that day. And on that note, good night. Yeah, good night to everyone too, man. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys next week. Again, we're gonna be doing critical race theory next week. We're gonna have last week's guest back on, Monty and Kevin Danley. It's good, D. Thanks for tuning in, bro. And again, Sean, we know that we praying for you, and Tariq's family, as well as his brother, man. It's just a sad occasion. We're praying for all you guys. And we're gonna keep on lifting you guys up in prayer during this rough season. So with that being said, we're gonna get into this critical race theory next week with, like I was saying, Monty early, Kevin Danley again. I look forward to seeing you guys. I hope you guys enjoy your evening. Get something to eat, enjoy the game, those that's watching the game. And I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Know that I love you, I love you, I love you. And thanks for tuning in as well. Till next week, Andre and Elisha, Daddy loves you intentionally, but I also love you unconditionally. Peace.